white, but it's the state of common sense and knowing what's right, what's wrong. What's up and what's down? Put your eyes to the sky and 2 feet on the ground. Now how that sound from one who don't know much, but I know enough to flow. Speak my peace to each, my right, my freedom of speech. And at the same time teach a lesson, expressing myself like a riot. The voice of the unheard or the quiet. Although the chains of bond have been broken, the shackles of the mind is still holding on the same. Just as a rope on a chain, a whip on my back and a cross in flame. The 3Ks say we're inferior, no, so let's show that we're proud and spiritual.
Spirituality, the point of doubt. 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 Spirituality, the point of doubt.
Hello? No, this is Baba Tony.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes. So we're going to have Elder Tony do our drum call and the welcome.
Want to welcome you to the Peron. I say.
Thank you, Elder Tony. The anthem, the Lift Every Voice and Sing, Hatim.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and fun. Ring with
the harmony.
I am the listening side, loud as the roaring sea. There we go.
Sing a song. Full of the faith.
Darkness has taught us.
Sing
a song full of the hope and the present.
Facing the rising sun.
Facing the
A new day till victory is won.
Tony the road.
Only the road we run, bitter jasmine run,
Down
down in the days in hope, unborn and died.
Yes.
Yet with a steady beat,
Have not I
have we not weary? Come to the place
for which
for which our fathers sighed.
We have come.
We have come over the bed.
Tears have been watered.
We have
come treading
Path
through
had
the
through
blood
the blood of the
out of
the gloomy
past. Till now we stand.
All right.
where the
White
white gleam.
gleam of our white star in sky.
All right.
God of
Come
our
on.
weary
God
years.
of our God of now who has brought us
Of our weary years,
away. Now who has brought my
who has brought us
the keep us
Ever in your path.
Lift our feet.
Blessed our feet, straight
Stray
from
from
the
the
places
places.
our pathway we led. Blessed
Bless our hearts.
heart, drunk with the wine of the world
Shadow beneath.
Shadow beneath thy hand.
May we
May we
forever.
forever stand
true to our God, true to our native land.
Very good. Thank you. Yes. Elder Phil, if you would do our pledge.
Yes, ma'am. Here's to the flag of mine. Yes. All right, I'm not on a computer, but let's go. Here to this flag of mine, the red, black, and green. Hope in a future bright. Africa has seen. Here to the red of it, great nations shall know of it. In time to come, red blood shall flow of it. Historians shall write of it. Great flag of mine. Here's to the black of it, 400 million back of it, those whose destiny depends on it, the red, black, and green of it, whole flag of mine. Here's to the green of it, young men and women, so dream of it. Faith shot They shot and shall for it. Maidens shall sing of it, waves so high, so high. Hear to the whole of it, cover of it, and pose of it. Please is my soul with it, regardless of what the soul of it. Thanks to God for giving. So,
Thank you, Elder Phil, for our pledge, the flag. Nation Builder Tim with Tambico libations.
Ashe.
yes.
Ashe.
Ashe.
This is Nation Builder Kwame, Alan and Winnie Frederick, Uncles Joel, John Wesley, and Thomas Alonzo and Pleasant, Aunt Mattie, Ada, Texas Anna, Pearlie, Grandma Mary Eliza Frederick, Grandpa Davis, Uncle Alan, and Alberta, and Beatty, and Naomi, Nellie, Willa Mae, Winnie, Grandma Mary Elizabeth Davis, Grandpa Eugene Rogers, Jason Canada, Robert Butler Sr., Uncle Robert Butler Jr., Aunt Martha, Robert Michael Butler, Uncle Perry and Shirley, and my mother, Mary Esther Canada.
Okay. Elder Alona, my sister Loretta Thomas, my sister Tawana McQuaida, my brother Clarence Felton Winbush, Daddy Sidney Clarence Winbush, and Mommy Virginia Louise Knight. Jay.
Pearl Haynes, James Haynes, Charles Haynes.
This is Baba Tony. Call all the drummers of the community as one group. Ashe.
Ashe.
Makaru.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. Okay.
Nina Washa. Nimshuma.
Is there anyone else?
Ashe. 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 Ashe.
We will thank you. We will now have Tam, the lighting of the candles by Elder Tony.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Since the libation has been set, the stool on the altar for the ancestor is now upright for them to be seated in. I will go through the lighting of only the unity candle. I will light this candle and I will say now, Nina Washa Mashuma Umoja. And that is, I light this candle in the name of Umoja. Ashe?
Ashe.
That is
Ashe.
done.
Elder Phyllis, with the evocation, please.
The voice calls forth the Great Spirit, the creative power of the universe that gives and sustains all existence forever. Let us adore a moon, who though hidden is the source of all life, all power, and all health. Let us hail Re, the sun, the highest visible manifestation of spirit that rises on the eastern horizon as Kepra and the self-creating one, who shines down at midday as Re, the eternally creating one, and who goes on the western horizon as Atum, the complete one. Let us revere Ptah, the nature and form creating one. Let us call Wasir, to whom we give our dead for life everlasting. Let Jehuti, nature of good speech, intelligence, and writing, teach or inform us. Let us worship Nu, the sky, the divine mother, who stretches forth from horizon to horizon, giving birth to all that comes into existence. Let us obey Ma'at, divine sister, who imbues the universe with order, harmony, balance, truth, justice, righteousness, reciprocity, and love. The voice calls forth the ancestors, who abide the spirit and the spirits of our yet unborn children, who will carry forth our seed for eternity. Now let this community unite in the celebration of the African spirit and the rededication to another cycle of Ma'at, right thinking, speaking, and right doing. Ashe.
Ashe. Elder Clifford, if you would do our announcements, followed by the praise to a moon.
All right. Announcements on page 8. Let's see if I can get this to work. All right. Announcements on page 8. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. On page 8. Announcements. Per Ankh service will be held June 14th and July 12th. And they're always second Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Divine Conversation for this month will be May 24th and June 28th next month, fourth Sunday at 10 a.m. I think we changed that to 11:30 as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. The DigiFest, you'll have more information on that, will be held June 20th. Tawi Ask Us Study Group is held every Friday at 6 p.m. online right now, as well as the history class, same time. The Meta Nature study class is held online at Tuesday at 8 p.m. The Tawi Association for Study of Classical African Civilization on the ASCAT is seeking members. Join every Friday, 6 to 8. Elder Mariba's new book, So You Want Liberation, can be purchased from Zawadi Books. Lastly, please sign up for service committees. They are music, talent, food, marketing, fundraising, Watoto facilities. Contact Elder Lona. As always, support our businesses that are listed on page 10. And let's see here. We have some specialty days that I want to pull through. Let's see if I can pull this back up. They are, we want to celebrate Happy Earth Days to the following people. Excuse me. Elder Kimba Nziga's birthday was on the 4th of May. Elder Bob Ransom is on the 13th, yet to come. And also happy birthday for Phyllis Ransom on the 14th. Nation Builder Rhoda is on the 21st. Warrior Nancy Mentor is on the 21st as well. And Nation Builder Kemet Kush is on the 29th. Let's give a round of happy Earth Days to all of our supporting people. Ashe.
Yay!
I want to give a quick shout out to my baby sister whose birthday is also May 13th. Happy birthday, Harry.
Okay, put that down, Elder Lona, so we'll know next time.
Yes, I will.
Are there any other announcements that the group is willing to put forth? Or are there any more details that they would like to produce?
I think
based
Elder
upon what
Mariba
you
had
said?
something, an announcement.
Hotel family, I just wanted to announce that So You Want Liberation, the book that you referred to, has been, I guess you call it, shanghaied, and do not buy it from those from the current distributors, because only buy it from the Wadi Books here in Atlanta, or I said the Wadi. I meant, well, the Wadi is all right, but I meant the Madu, Zawadi and Madu, and I'm revising it. So if you want to wait, I'm gonna put a second edition out.
Thank you, Baba.
Okay.
On Mondays, Wakesa out of Atlanta does his town hall meetings that relate to to the virus that's out. They've been doing it for several weeks now, and then they also have classes on Saturday as well.
Permission to speak, please.
People.
Yes, sir.
Alona, could you get that send that out, that forward that on that information on Waukesha stuff, please?
Yes, I will. I'll
Thank
send
you.
it to the distribution list.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Boom.
Yeah, that was wonderful. I especially like. I sent you back a note. I especially like the what I call the traditional historic music coming from the village. I got one of those ancient tapes.
Great. All right. Are there any more announcements that folks would like to have mentioned? Hearing none, let's go on to Praise the Moon. If you can, it is on page. Okay, it should be three.
Three.
Okay, we ready? Okay, all natures are three: Amun, Re, and Ptah. They have no companions. Concealing its name as Amun, it has Re as a face, is by its Ptah. The cities of earth are established for perpetuity. They are Waset, Unu, and the city of the White Wall, for eternity. A message was sent from the sky, and heard in Unu, and repeated a city of the White Wall by beautiful existence, to be set in an official documentation in Yehudi's writing, concerning in the city of Amun, which possessed their property. The matter was answered in Waset. A statement was issued. It shall belong to the nine, all that came forth from its, the moon's mouth, and natures were established because of it, according to what was decreed. The message was sent. It shall slay and give life. Life and death come from it for everyone, except the nature. A moon plus ray plus Ptah, total three. Okay.
Ashe. Thank you, Elder Clifford.
You're welcome.
Yes. The Tawi Parak Columbus is committed to the following African principle. We have 12 that we recite, and we start from one created spirit, the all, and we filter on down to our individual works. We start in August, which is where we start our new year, and we are now in the 10th month of our year, and the statement is promoting African familyhood, Ujamaa, as the foundation and exemplary model of national life. Again, promoting African familyhood as the foundation and exemplary model of national life. And last month's Parank, one of the things, and even last year, one of the ones from last year, we talked about how in ancient Kemet, the family was the foundation of everything. The family was the model of the nation. The learning and growth started in the family, spread out to the community, to the nation. One of our principles is to promote African familyhood, for it is the foundation of our community. Ashe. Ashe. Turn things to Nation Builder Kwame as he brings on our Sabayet and those that will be doing our Sabayet. So Nation Builder Kwame, it's on you, my friend.
All right, family. First, I want you to picture in your minds a circle. Now, that may be how we first encounter this notion of a circle. And then I may take you to looking at what's called the various ways we might view a circle in terms of algebra. Algebra deals with symmetries. Symmetries are those ways in which if I spin the circle, it looks the same. If I flip the circle, it looks the same. If I reflect it through a line going through its center, it looks the same. And so that's algebra. I may ask you to look at it from a geometric perspective. So I may give you some assumptions that we have about a circle. And upon those assumptions, you may derive all kinds of other ideas about this circle. I may ask you to look at it from a calculus perspective. So I may ask you to see why the circle has many of its properties and how even more is revealed about this circle, things that you wouldn't even imagine. And based on those various ways that we view the circle through algebra, geometry, calculus, they all reveal truths about this circle, but from various degrees of one's developmental understanding. And so with that short intro, we are going to treat you today to an intergenerational perspective on, one moment, an intergenerational perspectives on Malcolm X, beginning with our warriors, going to our nation builders, then to our elders, and to our Baba. And with that, coming to the stage, Levon, take it away.
Thank you. So, me personally, the way I view Malcolm X is like this. So, I see Malcolm X, and I see how he had a rough start. Like, he started off and having a criminal background, and he didn't like get the right view that he had. Like, he started off doing things like going after white women because that's what everyone else would do. He would try to fit a European standard instead of embracing his natural self. And then later on in life, after he went in jail and embraced the Islam culture, right, he started to realize that he didn't have to do all these things to make himself look nice. He didn't have to follow what everyone else was doing. And he ended up embracing himself and letting him be his natural black self. See, Malcolm didn't believe in praying for God to help us out. Instead, he went out and actually did things. He had speeches, organizations, and he had tons of people to help back him up during his time. He didn't just talk about what he wanted to do, but he actually did it. He put dedication into what he wanted to do. And he turned his entire life around from a criminal background to an inspirational figure. And that just proves that people can change who they are no matter what happened or what they have done. And the fact that he was a family man as he got older, started taking care of his wife and kids, his entire life just changed around. And people can learn from him, and people can take what he has done and do it into their own lives, take after him. And that's really like how I see him. Like, no matter what happens or what you've been through, you can change your life around just like he did. That's how I view Malcolm X.
Go ahead and let people know how old you are, Levon.
What'd you say?
Let people know how old you are.
Just turned 13 last January. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that, my brother. Do we have another warrior in the house?
Yeah, we do.
Who's the other warrior we have in the house?
Believe in.
All right, Cleve, introduce yourself. What were you going to speak on Malcolm X, Cleve, or?
I wasn't told to, but I can.
I mean, no, I'm not going to put you on the spot like that. But that's all right. I love the brother has that extemporaneity in him. You know what I'm saying? So it's a beautiful thing. So, Brother Hatim, that brings you to the stage. The stage, the stage. Take it away. I'm sorry. Hold up, man. Look, you can't come on breaking into untruths and whatnot.
All right, man, I need you to stand on the principles, my brother. Virtues of my art, please.
Right. See. All right. So that's the hook. I got you.
Hold on.
Yes. Yes.
Guidance counselor.
Guidance counselor.
I sure.
We give thanks for your story, my
Ashe.
brother. Ashe. Next on the mic. Next on the mic is Elder Cliff. Elder Cliff, coming to the stage. The stage.
Woo. You know, it's kind of hard to follow all of the people who came before me. Woo. My time with Malcolm X is, you know, he was still alive when I was still a young person. Because I guess I should first recognize that his name was Malcolm X, or Malcolm Little, and he became El Haj Malik El Shabazz before his untimely death on February 21st, 1965. And the reason why I mentioned his death time was I was still young. It was just his death coincided one day before my actual birthday. So this has always stuck out in my mind about Malcolm X. And I was 9. Now, believe it or not, just a 9-year-old. I want you to put this in perspective. In respect to 9-year-olds today. I had been listening and hearing about Malcolm X because it was through the media, and anything black was always of interest to me based upon my older brother and sisters. And I had a rabble-rousing uncle that always kept my ear to consciousness of black folks. Now, this older rabble-rousing uncle was on the public eye. He was nothing more than just a worker who worked in a barn at like a Churchill Downs racehorse barn. He was just a guy who tended the horses and trained them and kept them ready for the jockey. He was not seen like a person who had any intellect. He was not seen as a person of any substance, but he was very knowledgeable. He was like a lot of folks at that time, you know, you couldn't always get the job that you were trained for. You had to get what you were able to get to support your family. My father did the same thing. Very knowledgeable guy. He decided he wanted to go to the service in 11th grade as opposed to finish high school. But, you know, doing 45, that was the forte. Small towns, you wanted to go serve, you wanted to go represent. Now, during that time, all those people who gave me some impressions on what it was to be black, here comes Malcolm X, my understanding of Malcolm X. I was fortunate. I lived in Cincinnati. At the age of 6, my family moved to a neighborhood called Mount Auburn in Cincinnati. If any of you from Cincinnati, you may know of this neighborhood. But anyway, I moved into a neighborhood where I was just smack dab across the street from the community center in the neighborhood. This community center was a black community center. It was the hub of that black neighborhood. Everything that went through the meetings. Everything you can think of went on in this particular community center. They had dances for the youth from the age. They did Wednesday night dances from the age of 10 to 13 to keep us in some sense in our neighborhoods and kind of chaperone us and keep us safe. You know, many times we thought, oh man, I don't want to be around. I don't want to have to be around adults. I always chaperone. But looking backwards, it was a good thing because we at least had people concerned about us. But among the things that went on in this neighborhood was this. During those times of 60 where you had protests, you had different meetings, we had different groups that met there. One particular group, we had even some of the Panthers that met there in this particular community center for a time. They couldn't always meet there because they would always sometimes draw the public eye. Sometimes they couldn't do it. So they had a spin-off group. They also did something underground, which was, I was amazed because they had pretty much black staff at this community center. They had training for us black youth from the age of 6 to 13. They would train us in martial arts. They would train us into, even to the point of being revolutionaries and getting us ready to start doing Molotov cocktails, doing a whole lot of things about having a new revolutionary guard, if you will. It was not popularized only because it was something that was sort of underground. It was in that neighborhood that you actually knew about this. So anybody in the neighborhood would know about this. But in that process, I was a fairly good student, and I always did like most people of the day. The most popular media of the day at that time was the library, and having a library card was like having a gold card to knowledge. And I always spent every moment I could in the library. And so I started not only seeing Malcolm on TV, I saw a lot of stuff that was printed about Malcolm. It was not, it wasn't always the books that you see today. It was a lot of stuff was negative stuff. And you would hear a lot of stuff. You read newspaper, you see a lot of negative print about Malcolm. Any and everything to destroy the image. Now, I'm seeing that, but I'm also hearing the converse in my neighborhood by elders telling me about the values of what he is pushing forth. And I also saw many folks who were, for lack of a better term, church bound, who wanted to follow the eye. They wanted to pit him and Martin Luther King against one another. Just the way to, and see, a lot of us were not astute to understand that this was a ploy put forth by the media at that time, particularly white media, to say, yeah, let's do the divide and conquer. Let's constantly keep them agitated at each other, as opposed to when you later saw a picture where Malcolm X and Martin Luther King actually met. And people don't even put much faith in that, in the fact that there was a time that we needed to begin to start solidifying and unifying our efforts. But that being said, my impact with Malcolm was he changed the way that I speak and walk and think. Because when I was growing up with Malcolm, much like we've heard our Tim said, I had, when I was younger, I'll give you an example. I was probably 5 to 7 years old. You can't escape this country and not be infested with white supremacy, meaning that white imagery. Everything that says you have to be white. All the way back from Muhammad Ali, before he became Muhammad Ali, to Elvis Presley. Those were days they always tried to push whiteness, with conking your hair, doing everything. In other words, always playing on your identity. And so when you have Malcolm X come along, here's a man who you see that went from pimping, running the streets, chasing white women, doing every degrading thing that you can imagine black folks did at that time, to refining himself and proving himself thoroughly astute, and realizing the one thing that he had an impression on me was speaking. I remember him saying that a man who has a vocabulary of only 4-letter words only is a man with a very small mind. And I meant to prove that, hey, that is not the only vocabulary that I know. Now, most of you know, you very seldom hear me curse. And I do that based upon his teaching and wisdom of others along that same line, that look, it takes a little bit more to think and use your mind and not just emote. Think before you speak. And that kind of carried me all the way through. I've always been sort of analytical in most things, and that's probably why many people told me when I was younger, hey, you're more of an engineering type of person, because you want to think things out and break things down and put them together. All this came from my teachings of elders in my community. There was a guy who was a strong elder named Mr. Wagner at our community center. He used to do some strange things when guys got out of line. Now, Brother's probably 6'4", probably about 260, 270. He would come through and brother was always mouthing off sometimes. He would not necessarily get up and punch you or do something. Sometimes he'd thump you upside the head to sort of wake you up and tell you to think. So that would always kind of get on your case, but yet knock you upside the head and give you a joke and say, look, you got to start using your mind. And you want to go up and fight with him, but you look and say, wait a minute, this guy's a mountain. I'm only 10 years old. I can't do much with him. So you at least paid attention to him. He would just do that to get your attention. He apologized later, but he explained that, you need to have shock and you need to have your attention brought to the forefront. So you start paying attention to who you are and where you come from and pay attention to the elders who are around you. So when I learned all these things about Malcolm, his identity, his teachings, his one time, Tim mentioned about seeing him on video. I remember seeing him at was Oxford, I think it was. And here's a guy who did not finish college, high school. I mean, he was not considered an intellect in any sense of the word. Here he is with the brightest and the so-called brightest and strongest academicians in the world at Oxford, and he's making these folks dance and shudder and shake in their boots with just pure knowledge of what the subjects that they chose to talk about. And I said, wait a minute, that's the brother that I need to be. But in the process of also saying that, like worshiping Malcolm, you also explain, don't worship me, actually follow the path that I lead and develop yourself. And so that is the path that I chose to do at this point in time, to develop myself, follow the path that he set forth, and try to constantly stay on that path and show others through my example that you too can be a reflection of Malcolm's. Ashe.
Ashe. Giving thanks, Brother Cliff. Thank you. And coming to the stage at this point is Baba Kelsey. Gye-Nyame, welcome. And as we say, coming to the stage. Baba Kelsey, take it away.
I'll say the stage. Giving honor to and praise and thanks to the Creator and all of our ancestors, all the creative forces of the universe, by whatever name we call them. I know that we could not be here, brothers and sisters, if it were not for them. So pray and seek that they're embracing us this day with this special panel of speakers, that this day that we will meditate and embrace the things that each of us has said. But beyond that, I know that the things that we've said will stimulate thoughts in us that will guide us, and we will continue to honor the things that are said today. Family, I want to pause too to lift up all mothers with love and respect as we have gathered today. It is important that we recognize that all the villages, all of our villages, the mothers are the axle around which the spokes of all of our villages ride. And so we owe them a special praise, regardless of whether we declare it daily or whether we declare it just the second Sunday in May. I hope that we are declaring it daily because it is mothers that have made it possible for us to be where we are today. So let us give our mothers a hand clap. I ask us to do this. Because I recognize that my mother, and perhaps your mother, okay. I ask us to do this because
Everybody there?
Okay. Okay, I ask us to do this because I recognize that my mother and perhaps your mother too gave us gems of wisdom, which we have never forgotten. Let's take a 10-second moment of silence to recognize those gems of wisdom, because each of us has some, and just think about what it was. And I want to take after this moment of silence, I want to just give you one that many of you have heard from me, but I never feel embarrassed about repeating it. So let's take a moment of silence and remember some of those gems of wisdom that our mothers gave us that we still carry today. It's important that we do that because when we say they've given honor to the ancestors, if they're with us or not with us, then we have to recognize that that they have given us guidance that sometimes we let fall by the wayside. And so let's you can take a moment of silence for that, please, brothers and sisters. Now, I know that most of us, if not all of us, remember the loving statements that your mother has given us. Now, and I want to give you one that my mother gave me, and then and I would hope that sometimes in a forum somewhere that we'll have a discussion and maybe even record some of those messages, because I think they're so important, and sometimes we neglect those. Some of you have heard me tell the story about when I went to Tuskegee. I was boarding a Greyhound bus, which I don't know if it exists now or not. And I got seated and raised the window. My mother and dad were there, and they said, and my daddy handed me a $5 bill. I'm going away to college in 1947, '6, I think it was. And my mother said to me, "Look, boy, you go down there and get all the learning you can get, but back here and have lost your common sense." And I've carried that with me forever, because it was common sense that Malcolm used as he began to convert and become the spokesperson for all of us when even we didn't know it. And so as I talk about him today, I'm going to give I've started to give you the history, but I don't want to do that. I want to paint Malcolm as a person who far exceeded the physical state and even the comments that he made. And then I want to give you at least one example. The only time that I actually met him was in Cleveland. I'll give you an example of what happened there, and you'll see why I think that the values that we celebrate today, many of them are outcome of what Malcolm did for us. And I want to start with just the Nguzo Saba, unity. Now, we speak of unity as if it's just a concept. Malcolm practiced unity. He practiced unity by building the Nation of Islam in a matter of about 10 years, from 500 to 30,000 members. And we had, so if we want to talk about unity in an organization, then we have an example. And I hope that we'll take the time to learn that how he did that, because that is so important for us right now. And as the young brother still, as he presented, the pre-warrior presented, he made comment about how he had influenced him. Let Malcolm still influence us. It is so important. He was righteous in all of his efforts. It is so important that we recognize that he was righteous even when he was learning what not to do. And keep in mind that if we do the self-examination, then we will know what not to do. He joined the Nation of Islam, and he learned how to organize, how to be righteous, and how to be spiritual. Some of us let the isms divide us. It is absolutely tragic that is happening. And so if we want unity among us, then it's important that that we look at the way that Malcolm manifests unity. He manifests unity by saying, let's join together in whatever we want to do and make it be successful. I'm going to give you an example now. As the one time that I had an direct experience with Malcolm was in Cleveland, Ohio, and it was known that he was coming to Cleveland to speak at one of the larger churches in Cleveland, which I won't name, that has that can seat perhaps 1,000 people. Well, somehow when Malcolm arrived, and for that day, the church doors were locked, and there were crowds all over the 105th seeking to hear Malcolm. So Malcolm just stood up on the steps, self-determination, brothers and sisters, stood on the steps, gave his talk to that large audience that blocked the streets, and went and moved on to his next place. What that said to me is that don't let no obstacle get in your way when you have something that you want to do in organizing and a message to our people. And I would say to us, the example to Tyree and to others is that it is almost criminal that we allow the isms or the generation, depending on what generation we're in, divide us. It is time that we overcome that, and that become the major effort to manifest, not just talk about, but to manifest that we are following the principles that we say we stand on. Malcolm didn't look for others to do the work. He did it himself. Whatever work was needed to be done, he was on the front lines doing it, no matter what the dangers may be, and no matter what the cost may be. In fact, it ultimately cost him his life. But it didn't matter, because his life is greater than the physical form in which he was here. And so it's important that we recognize that. Some of you know that I like to talk about the business of human capital, Ujamaa. Ujamaa is a principle that stands for more than just the physical capital, and Malcolm manifests that because he took no money and built institutions that are embellished with much capital at this fiscal capital at this point, and they're still building, and even though they appear to be not as strong as they once were. Don't be deceived by appearances, and we too can be strong. We don't, even though the outward appearances may appear that we are not, if we are practicing the principles that we say we stand on. Now, it is so important, brothers and sisters, that you recognize what you are doing today when you ask generations to combine their experiences is vital to be done on a regular basis. It is not just enough to do it as a part of a ritual. It should be done every single day, that we combine the efforts and utilize the efforts of all intergenerational activity. There is no village without intergenerational activity taking place. And therefore, it is important that we recognize that too is an element from Malcolm. If you note, he had all ages in his group, and he encouraged all ages to be a part of his group, whether he was with the nation or whether he had established the Muslim Incorporated. So it's important that we follow the example. I'm presenting him as an example for us to follow, not so much that we get tied up in the religion portion of it, but we get tied up in the principled portion of it. Let me move on then. Brother Kwame and Brother Hatem and the village council, I'm so glad that you're having this panel today, and I just wanted to just praise you beyond closing. Now, let me tell you some of the similarities between Malcolm and me. First, some of you know that we are 1 month and 3 days apart. He was born May 19th, and I'm born June 22nd, 1925. That means that it's just a few days, a short period from now, being 95.
Just called me and said my social security is automatic.
What's that? So that's okay. Another one of the principles that I think Malcolm stood on, that I too stand on, and I hope that each of you stand on, is that we want complete liberation. Now, complete liberation carries with it responsibility, and it doesn't mean desegregation, as which some of us have accepted as another form of enslavement. I present to you that complete liberation far exceeds this issue of desegregation that some of us have bought into so strongly. I present to you that liberation carries with it responsibility, it carries with it the unity, the 7 principles, it carries with it the principles of Ma'at, and it carries with it that we join together unquestionably, and that even though sometimes it's difficult, and from audience after audience, as I talk about this issue of agreeing to agree, each audience that I've talked with talk about how difficult it is. Yes, life is difficult sometimes, but if we want to have victory, then we climb the mountain no matter how high it is, because we have a higher goal than the friction that may be occurring at that moment. And so I'd say to us, Malcolm understood this, and so it's important that we too follow that example. I already said to you that Malcolm had the ability to organize and to make himself self-sufficient. Let's begin to aim for that in all of our organizations, in all of our Pan-African organizations, rather than maintaining the friction that exists between us. Finally, I want to say to us, after this, what I'm going to call 73 years of knowing that it's important to not lose my common sense, and that is not to talk too long right now, but to give you an opportunity to, if there are those who want to ask questions of either of us, I think it would be appropriate to give you an opportunity to do that. But we must demonstrate the ability to organize. Now, Brother Hartim mentioned that I have produced a little paper. It's not, I don't want to call it a book, but it's a paper that I think is important for us to begin to rally around and begin discussions around, and discuss how we might use it as a basis. All right, that's fine. I might say that the special report that, as Brother Hartem has named it, and which I appreciate very much. He's been extremely diligent in making sure that all T's were dots, all I's were dotted, and all T's were crossed in that document. And I think that everybody's going to appreciate it. But I want you to know it's not just my work; it's my wife's work, it's his work, and it's work that has been put together partly because of my knowledge of Malcolm. Now, if I had to give you a Kelsey proverb, I hope I wrote it down, and I would, and this is a Kelsey proverb that I want to leave you with. Stop defeating ourselves with divisiveness. Stop defeating ourselves. I didn't say nothing about white folks. Stop defeating ourselves with divisiveness. Unity brings victory. Stop defeating ourselves with divisiveness. Unity brings victory. Ashe, brothers and sisters. I appreciate the wisdom that you have in pulling the intergenerational panel together.
Give thanks, Father. Go ahead, Elder Darrell.
Well, no, I was just thanking Baba for the words of wisdom. Go ahead, Kwame.
No, we just wanted to give thanks. Baba, if you're available in 14 days, I believe that'd be the 24th. That's when we have our divine conversation, and in a manner of speaking, the gates will be open so that people can come and ask questions and provide their thoughts on what you've said, what Elder Cliff has said, Hatem, and Brother Levon, excuse me. And if they have any questions on what I said, that may have to come in a let's wrap my eye session. But Elder Alona, did you want to take it from here?
Yes, thank you. The panel was wonderful. Thank you, Brother Kwame, for organizing, and all of our presenters. We'll now have Elder Phyllis just talk through our offerings. And if Hatem, you could put up how people can donate. Okay. Okay.
Habari Ghani family.
Umoja.
Amani, would you think it would be Amani?
Okay, Amani.
Okay. This is a time that we do allow you to support what we do. We are a 501c3 organization, so your donations are tax deductible. We have several ways in which you can support us, and as Brother Hatem said, those are running across the screen. You can pay through PayPal or our Cash App. The funds that you send to us allows us to continue to do the programming that we do throughout the year, and we don't charge for any of the events that we put on. So we would appreciate if you're willing to support us, and we're thanking you in advance. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe, permission to speak?
Yes.
Elder Hatem, could you help us with number 100? I need some help with the 100. What does that mean? The 100 that we need.
I'm not sure I understood you. Is that Mama Margarita?
Yes, Mama Margarita, basically, our first goal was to get 100 people to contribute to our, what's it called, our Gumroad fundraising. And what that does is it allows you access to all the materials that we have available. And it usually requires, it starts as low as like $10 a month. You could sponsor, let's say you've taken a liking to Levon. So you could sponsor Levon and say, okay, I'm giving $10 a month and I want this put in Levon's name. And so our first goal is to get 100 people to contribute to that. Repeat, Mama Margarita.
Asante sana. Thank you. Gracias.
De nada, Mama. De nada.
Thank you. We will now have I'll read the pledge to Ma'at. The pledge to Ma'at, it was adapted out of the Hosea.
Ago.
Yes.
Amen.
I think we have a prayer that a sending off prayer to be done before you close.
No, that comes right after the unity circle, and we still have Ma'at, the unity circle, and then the send off prayer.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Pledge to Ma'at from the Hosea. The Ma'at is great. Its value is lasting. It has remained unchanged and unequal since the time of its creator. It is a plain path, even for the ignorant. Those who violate its laws are punished. Ma'at urges moral excellence in all one does, so no fault can be found in your character. Ma'at is truth. Ma'at is justice. Ma'at is righteousness. Ma'at is balance. Ma'at is order. Ma'at is harmony. Ma'at is reciprocity. Do that which is right, that you may live long on earth. Think Ma'at, speak Ma'at, do Ma'at in secular and sacred situations. Ma'at will ensure a mutually beneficial community and everlasting life.
Hotep.
Hotep. We'll have Cliff, and then we'll have the Madu Nefer with Elder Darrell. Cliff?
Brother Tim, you reading me? There, remember the Unity Circle song? Yes. Okay,
So
I didn't know anything about that.
Why don't we flip the order and do the Madu Nefer next, which Elder Darrell, and then we'll come back. The last thing we'll do is Elder Clifford, the song.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the young brother for his words of wisdom and Baba Kelsey for his words of wisdom. There's a reason why I'm picking the youngest and the oldest. The preparation and the sending forth of the deceased by the community was called the initiation. And even though we now say transition, we're talking about the same thing. The rebirth and transformative process that the soul goes through. Let the community now join in hailing the initiation of our brother in the African way. At the death of the body, the individual is initiated into eternal existence, where each person who had lived according to Ma'at, which is truth, is united with the everlasting forces of the cosmos. The initiation process of life, death, and rebirth is patterned after the sun. Each day, the sun dies on the western horizon, travels through the 12 hours of night, but is reborn each morning on the eastern horizon. It is in this manner that we come forth by day after we go to our western horizon. The sending forth prayer that I'm getting ready to read is an excerpt from the book of Coming Forth by Day. Let our brother El-Haj Malik El-Shabar, also known as Malcolm X, proceed in peace to the west. May the lords of the sacred land receive him and give him threefold praise and peace. May they make a seat for him beside the elders of the council. May he ascend in the presence of the divine, and may he, our dear brother, assume whatever form he wants in whatever place his spirit wishes to be. That which is divine has received him as a star which lights up the sky. His sister is the sacred star Soap, and his offspring is the morning sun. Never again will the sky be void of him or the earth empty of his presence. Ashe.
Ashe.
Okay, thank you.
Ashe.
Hotep, my brothers and sisters. This is Prince Khalifa. I give honor to my Creator and to my ancestors by virtue of this message. Guide and direct my voice so that those who hear will listen. We are chained psychologically and economically, bounded by shame and guilt. We have fed all others on the breast of our mother's milk, while ours have grown up malnutrition and lost. We must eat our culture, our history, and our traditions, for they lead us, guide us, and bind us to freedom. Africans, mighty ones, we were created by God to be supermen and women. We were made into mortals by our captors. We are becoming again what God intended us to be. Africans, geniuses, gods of the earth, in sync with the universe. Intended us to be. Africans, geniuses, gods of the earth.
What are we?
Since the beginning of time, Africans have been doing the impossible, using mind over matter, spirit over mind, tapping into the divine, so that now is the time of this day in mind to discuss our rise, which will free all African minds, allowing the divine to shine, the divine to shine, the divine to shine.
playing the song, and are we?
Hey, Mo.
African man, original God of the universe. African woman, mother
Okay.
of the
Other than that,
universe. From my soul I
I'm at the
express,
Kwanzaa Park at the
and
second
no good things can.
praying here.
I hope you're at our tree stump.
I have studied my culture, my history, and my land.
The one that was cut down.
Because I know that in order to overcome my enemies outside,
Yes.
I must overcome the one that resides on the inside.
Am I interfering with the other recording?
But how can I see to help my sisters and brothers be free if I can't see my own inner enemy? Physician, heal thyself. Heal thyself. Heal thyself.
Because this is definitely a new reasoning tradition, the way we're doing this. And so the old ways are now looked at as being tradition. And the new way of doing this now is the reasoning. We're bringing that in, just like the second that rises. We're bringing this new thing in. That's what I'm doing.
I know who I am, and I know who you are. I am not alarmed when I see my brothers and sisters willing, stealing, dealing, killing and killing. People looking just like them. Because I know the niggas were made, and Africans were created.
Yeah.
Africans were created.
Yeah.
Niggas were made to meet the needs for slaves. It's an economic thing, you must understand. But now that the job is done, it's up to us to stop what the slave master has begun. For bondage is in our minds. It controls how we see with our own eyes. So blame not your sister and brothers. Instead, love unconditionally one another. For this is the medicine that will heal and bind us together. Because it is up to us if we're going to get any better. Africans are created in the image of the Creator, arriving here whole and complete, in sync with the universe, and one with the natural forces of the earth. Truth, justice, righteousness, balance, and order are always in effect. And when you know who you are, you will regurgitate the rest.
Yeah.
We can never be separated from the Creator.
Tell her to come on and
That's a lie at best.
Mama energy.
So hear the truth. Let go the rest. Africans were created.
Wonderful day.
And niggas were
Peace
made.
to everyone.
Africans were created. And niggas were made.
All right now.
Psalms 82, verse 5 and 6. They know not, neither do they understand. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. I have said, you are gods, and all of you are the children
you all keep that
of the Most High. God.
Communication
Protect.
going.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that.
We want to thank everyone for being here. A great Parank this afternoon. Please join us on the fourth Sunday for Divine Conversation, when we can do more reflection and questions and just wonderful conversation based on the intergenerational perspective on El Hajj Malik Shabazz today. Again, thank you, everyone. Stay safe, strong, and healthy. Ashe.
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 Ashe. Yo.
I will be playing as y'all leave the line. Is that okay?
Yeah, well.
Ashe.
Job, Hassan.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Elder Gye-Nyame está muy enferma con cáncer. Necesitamos una energía positiva.
Sí, claro. No,
Ok,
gracias.
gracias.
Gracias. Mama Margarita.
Yes. I'm here.
Este viernes, porque este viernes ella estaba en el llamado de teléfono con nosotros.
¿Quién? ¿Hani o yo?
Sí, Mama Rohani.
Yo hablé con ella ayer y ella necesita energía positiva para hacer una decisión si va a tomar quimo o no quimo.
Sí, claro. Yes, sí. Yo lo sé.
Ok, bendiciones. Ashe.
Ashe. Muy bien. I was just waiting to get the clear.
Cleveland.
Well, excuse me.
The meeting's open.
What's up, bro? What's up, brother D?
I was not asleep. I was just.
Exactly.
All right, family. I'm out. One love.
Tim. Sent you an email while you were on. Yeah, I sent you an email while you were on. Okay. So, all right, fella.